Hello everyone, my name is Mike Hurley. I'm Mayor of the City of Burnaby. I'm happy to speak with you today about the city's response to COVID-19 and everything that we're all facing together. And it's presented many challenges for all of you and certainly many challenges for our city. But today I'll be answering some questions that we have received through email, through our Facebook feeds, and taking some questions from you today. But I have a list of questions in front of me that I will start out with first of all that we received through a call center. But before I start, I'd just like to thank all of the residents of Burnaby for the great way you have responded, especially to our physical distancing, staying home as much as possible unless we really need to go out, and being kind to those around us, which is also an extremely important part of what we're trying to achieve. It's very stressful times for many of us, so it's very, very important to be kind to those around us and understand that others are feeling that stress as well. So again, thank you so much to the overwhelming members of our public who have reacted in a very positive way to what we're trying to do, and that is flatten the curve on COVID-19, follow the directions of Dr. Henry, as we're doing as a city, and moving forward in the best possible way. Thank you. So I'll just get on to some of your questions. The first one is to do with parking regulations, and specifically around Burnaby Hospital and health centers. So will the city be providing free parking around the city, especially around the hospital with health centers? So we have kind of been a little bit ahead of the curve on this one. We have had one of our streets with free parking outside Burnaby Hospital for about 6 months right now, and I know many members of the public have written to me expressing their appreciation for that. Certainly around the rest of the hospital area, we will not be enforcing our parking regulations at this time, and I truly appreciate the efforts of the province to do away with parking inside the hospital ground, parking costs inside the hospital grounds at this time as well. For the rest of the city, especially in areas where public safety can be an issue, we will continue to enforce our parking laws because public safety, as always, is paramount in certain areas of our city. Physical distancing. Next questions regarding physical distancing, and this came from a resident email to mayor@burnaby.ca. What is the city of Burnaby doing to ensure residents follow physical distancing in outdoor spaces? Well, we have really relied on this way and trying to educate, and we believe that education is the best way to have people realize that physical distancing is, again, paramount at this time so that we can ensure the safety of all our residents within our city and to ensure that we're following the directions of our medical professionals again. We have closed many of our playing fields, tennis courts, other public play areas where people can congregate. We haven't done this lightly, but it's a necessity that we keep people from, gathering in groups, and that just goes against everything we're trying to do right now. So lacrosse boxes, skate parks, golf courses, disc golf, all of these things have been closed down to ensure that we're following the physical distancing rules. These are all important steps to what we're doing. You've also seen some of the things I've been doing on Facebook with our props to ensure that people understand what this physical distancing actually means. So thank you for that question. We've also been increasing our patrols in the parks and ensuring that our staff are getting out there and reminding people that social distancing is so important. The next question again is from our COVID-19@burnaby.ca website. Are there any new changes to garbage pickup or recycling due to COVID-19? Our garbage pickup and our recycling pickups are still operating at 100% and will continue to do so because we believe this is an important service. Our recycling depot remains open, but I should remind you that our white styrofoam, that collection has ceased for the present time because the facility we sent it to, it has closed. So we have no ability to collect the white styrofoam at this time, but certainly all our other recycling and garbage efforts are continuing. I do remind you though that if you have sick people at home, tissues and any cleaner that you use to wipe up and it's loose, tissues or any of those issues, please put them in a bag and then double bag and tie those up and before you put them in the garbage, and that's to protect our staff. And please keep doing what you're doing. I know most people are doing this. But our Echo Center, our recycling depot, remains open from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. daily. So thank you for that question. So the next question is around tax relief. And it's around, will the city of Burnaby be deferring business property taxes? And the question was on to say many tenants are not paying the rents, causing corporate landlords serious cash flow difficulties. And we're working with the province in this issue, not just for businesses, but for residences. We need the province's okay to do this because many of the taxes we collect, 50% or roughly of those are actually going to other entities, including Metro Vancouver, TransLink, and the school tax. So we collect payments on their behalf. So we need to have many discussions around how we can move this forward. And we certainly need the province's cooperation to do this. But from a city perspective, we are pushing to defer those taxes a few months down the road so that it helps businesses and our residents as we all work together to try and get through this crisis. So moving on to the next question, which comes from a resident email to covid19@burnaby.ca. And thank you for that. If businesses are not following physical distancing guidelines, what is the city response when you receive these reports? Well, when we receive these reports with our team, we will send our staff out to remind businesses that physical distancing is just as important within their business as it is in our public spaces. And we'll keep going back until businesses get those messages of following Dr. Henry's guidelines. And also workers' compensation, if it continues, we'll likely be paying them a visit to remind them that these distances have to be followed under the Workers' Compensation Act as well. So we do respond and we do advise people within businesses, just like it is in our public spaces, public parks. Social distancing, physical distancing is just as important there. The next question is from City of Burnaby Facebook page and from a different Shelley on Facebook asking about walking tracks in Burnaby. Are they still open? The following walking tracks, and I believe all of our walking tracks in Burnaby are still open for public use. These include Burnaby North School, Burnaby Central School, Burn Creek School, Caribou School, and Confederation Park. So yes, our tracks are still open, and certainly within tracks there's from what I've seen, people are going to great efforts to keep the physical distance. And again, thanks to all of our residents for that. And our next question is from a resident, email to mayor@burnaby.ca. Is the city going to implement a full-scale quarantine, which requires people to stay in their homes? Our cities, every action in our city is guided by, again, our healthcare professionals and Dr. Henry, who's done such a magnificent job through this. And so any quarantine, full quarantine would have to come through Dr. Henry's office. And certainly if they brought that down, we would ensure that the city was following those rules as we do with everything all the advice we get from, well, not really advice anymore. She makes it very clear. It's the law. So that, like physical distance, like if quarantine was brought in, we would be following her law. So thank you again for that question. Future measures, and this is from a resident email to mayor@burnaby.ca. Will the city be closing Metropolis at Metrotown or any other malls in the city? Again, we're guided by our healthcare professionals. At this time, they have not recommended that malls or these types of businesses are closed. So we again monitor to ensure that social distancing and social spacing is being followed within the malls. From what I've seen, many of these malls are most of the businesses have closed. So they're very lots of social distancing that I can see going on within the malls, and I know that continues. Currently, the businesses that are required to close include casinos, businesses with liquor primary licenses, bars, pubs, and nightclubs, and personal service establishments such as saloons and spas. So if any of those are situated within the malls, they are closed, and we will ensure that they're all closed as well. So thank you for that question. And this is a question around medical supplies and donations from a resident to mayor@burnaby.ca. We've heard from a number of Burnaby residents who are looking to learn how they can donate medical supplies to frontline healthcare workers. And for this, we recommend getting to our COVID response teams, which is through COVID19@burnaby.ca. They will handle any of those generous offers and ensure that it gets into the right hands so that it can be investigated if these offers are required, number one, and if they meet the safety standards that are required by our medical health officer. So thanks again for that question. The next question is from a resident, email to COVID19@burnaby.ca, and thank you for using that. It says, I signed my child up for swimming classes and I also bought my own Be Active pass. How do we get refunds? Full refunds are available by just calling the city, and you can get a refund for any remaining dates on the monthly pass, 3-month or annual Be Active pass. It's best to contact the community center directly, and they are still answering calls. And I know many people have seen reimbursements for these passes. So again, thank you. They are still taking calls from 8:30 to 4:30 p.m. So please call them to activate any reimbursement you're entitled to. And the next question is from a resident email to mayor@burnaby.ca. What do I do if I see people entering closed facilities like basketball courts? And again, please call our center at either 604-570-3800 or email COVID19@burnaby.ca. We will follow this up and we will contact you to confirm that we have received your complaint. But certainly we respond strongly to any of these requests we get. So again, thank you for that. The next question is around physical distancing on construction sites. It says, and this is from a resident at email to COVID19@burnaby.ca. I live across the street from a construction site, and for the past 2 weeks I have watched workers walk side by side along the sidewalk from the SkyTrain station, huddle together at the site in very large groups, work all day long in close proximity. What is the city doing about construction sites? Well, again, construction sites have been deemed by our medical officer that they should remain open at this time. And so that's come down from them. So certainly when our inspectors are in the sites, they will be advising of the importance of physical distancing. Also, workers' compensation, I know, sends many inspectors to these sites to ensure that the physical distancing rules are being followed as much all the time on construction sites. So really, those are the areas, but because construction sites have been deemed by the health officer to stay open at this time, we will keep trying to educate as best we can the workforce within those construction sites. And they can continue to operate as long as they have fewer 50 people on one of those construction sites. So that is the rules as set down by our health officer, and as I've said, we follow her guidance as we deal with all these issues. Thank you again. Future measures and reopening facilities. This is from a resident email to COVID-19@burnaby.ca. When will the recreation centres reopen? I wish I had a real answer for that. We're certainly living in very unknown times, and we know that these recreation centres are very important to many of our residents, and certainly makes a big difference in their lives. The decision to close these facilities was certainly not made lightly. However, to prevent the spread of COVID-19, it was essential that we did that. And again, we had to comply with the orders that come down from our medical health officer. And when they give the direction that we can start to open these facilities, and not until then will we move towards opening our centers. But certainly we look forward to that day so that we can start our city and our residents being able to move back to some form of normality. Thank you for the question. The next question was kind of a repeat around free parking around the hospital, and this came in from M. Selly on a Twitter. So thank you for that. I think I've already answered that. And now we have some questions come in from the Facebook feed, so I will endeavor to answer some of those. And this one's from Susan on Facebook just now. Can the waste be collected weekly for these times as we have more hygiene garbage to throw? We have had discussions around this, but at this time we don't see a need to do that. We are still providing bi-weekly pickup, and reminder again that if anyone in the household is sick, please follow the safe disposal for the safety of our staff. And that includes putting those disposed items in a garbage bag, again, double bagging those, tying them tightly and putting them in the garbage. And I will forward your request for weekly pickup to our staff for reconsideration again. But at this time, we believe we're keeping going with the bi-weekly pickup. So thank you for that. This is from Anna on Facebook just now, and we've kind of already answered this, but I want to acknowledge, Anna, that you made the effort to engage us on Facebook, and I really appreciate that. And it says, do we need to pay for the property taxes and sewer taxes? We're working with the province and asked for the due date extension for property taxes as well as other provincial fees that we collect as a city. We're also discussing for tax and fee deferrals with other authorities, for example, Metro Vancouver. So again, thank you very much for that question, and thank you for engaging us on Facebook as we move through this today. Okay, well, I guess that's about it for today. And again, thank you all for calling in. And I remind everyone of the guidelines that have been set down by Dr. Henry. But first, I would like to thank Dr. Henry and her staff for the great work they've been doing to lead us through this scenario we're in right now. Also, all the frontline workers, our hospital staff who we hear so much about, but also all the other workers who are coming to ensure that we're getting our food. And I also want to give a special shout out to the Greater Vancouver Food Bank, who are doing such great work at this time as well to ensure that people are having some food security as we work through this. But I just remind everyone again, wash your hands. Do not be like me and touch your face as many times as I do. And I've been really trying hard not to do that so much, but it's not an easy thing to do. And so we're trying to do our very best at this time that none of us have been through before. But I can assure you as a city, we're doing everything we can to be here for you. And we will continue to do that day in and day out as we work our way through this crisis. If you have any questions or concerns about our community and our response to COVID-19, please send an email to covid19@burnaby.ca or contact our call center 604-570-3800, and I can assure you that we'll respond to each and every inquiry. So again, I thank the residents of Burnaby for everything you've done through this difficult time. Thank the businesses for everything you're doing. And it's important that we all work together to get through this crisis that we're all faced right now. So again, thank you very much for joining us today on Facebook.